Hare Krishna, dear devotees. I welcome you for this Bhakti Shastri class on Saturdays that we generally have. We'll quickly start with Mangalacharan. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gyananjanashalakhaya Chakshurum Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayyam Dadati Swapadantikam Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschata Deshatarine हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीन बंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानं पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा dear devotees. So I'll just quickly share the screen with you all. So we're going to enter into a very beautiful chapter, the most confidential knowledge, where in the previous chapter, Krishna has mentioned that the pure devotee is completely, performing unalloyed devotional service to him, and because the devotee is performing pure devotional service, he will be surpassing all the paths. Okay, so he mentioned the supreme position of doing unalloyed devotional service or bhakti yoga. And in this chapter, Krishna will give us the guidance of how to become a pure devotee, or how to become an unalloyed devotee of the Supreme Lord. So, if you see in the Bhagavad Gita, where in this particular chapter or the previous chapters or the previous units that we saw, the second chapter or the sixth chapter or the eighth chapter or the seventh chapter, and this particular chapter. So, from chapters 2 to 6, where Krishna is speaking about matter and spirit. We never knew what is matter, what is spirit. So that is a confidential knowledge Krishna gave us, that, hey, you are not the body, you are the soul. Okay. And your body is made up of matter. Then in the 7th chapter, where is in the confidential knowledge, Krishna is giving the knowledge about devotional service, which is a little more confidential knowledge, you can say. He's giving, in fact, in the 8th chapter, he is giving also the guidelines that anybody who remembers me at the time of death is sure to reach me. Okay. And now in this 9th chapter, Krishna is going to speak about only bhakti, or the most confidential knowledge, which is describing his, his magnanimous nature, and it is going to describe about Krishna's, the majestic aspect of Krishna, the Aishwarya Bhav, and how is a pure devotee, an excellent living being, if he is taking up to Krishna consciousness and he is behaving according to the laws and of the bhakti yoga. So when we see Gita, Gita is considered, when we say that the Gita is the essence of all the scriptures, right? And when we see the first 6 chapters and the last 6 chapters, the first 6 chapters speak about karma, and the last 6 chapters speak about jnana yoga. But the middle chapters, these are those chapters, and specifically the 9th chapter and the 10th chapter, they are actually right in between, the most, well, then a khazana jo hai, like the, uh, or the essence, you can say. These are the cream chapters of the Bhagavad Gita, the 9th chapter and the 10th chapter. And if you see, you might, wonder that, okay, 7th chapter also spoke about confidential knowledge. And 9th chapter is speaking about the most confidential knowledge. So, if you remember in the 7th chapter, the very first shloka that we had discussed, when he said Tat Shrunu. So we spoke more about, how Shravanam will lead to the, because when a particular person does Shravanam, that is the most, easiest way of connecting with Krishna. And when you hear about Krishna, you get attached to Krishna. Mai asakta mana partha. When the more you hear, the more you get attached to Krishna. The more you will hear about a particular person, you'll get attached to Krishna. But then, how is that possible? Then yogam yunjan, mad ashrayam. So that's how a devotee tries to actually, when he hears, he gets attached. And then Krishna spoke most about his, all pervasiveness in this material nature. He spoke about his different energies, and he spoke about demigod worship and worship to the absolute truth. And then he spoke about the impersonalists, and he spoke about the devotees' understanding about Krishna as such. So, Krishna had in the 3rd chapter very elaborately explained about Karma Yoga. And then what he did in the 5th chapter, he elaborated the Karma Yoga part, right? In the 5th chapter. Similarly, what he has done is, he has described Bhakti Yoga in the 7th chapter. But in more details, he's going to give us in the 9th chapter. And that is why, what does it take to become a bhakta or a pure devotee of the Supreme Lord? Krishna is going to give all that knowledge in 34 shlokas in this particular chapter. So let's dive into the first shloka. So he says over here that, so the Supreme Lord starts speaking from this chapter, okay, I mean from this particular shloka. Why? Because he's continuing, okay. So from the 8th chapter, he started speaking and he's again continuing only. So Shri Bhagavan Uvacha idam tu te guhyatam pravakshami anusuyave jnanam vijnanam sahitam yadgyatva mokshayet subhat. So whenever there is this particular word, it says ashubhata. So you pronounce, so one is shubhata and the other is ashubhata. Okay. So what is he saying is that Let's read the translation. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "My dear Arjuna, because you are never envious of me, I shall impart to you this most confidential knowledge and realization, knowing which you shall be relieved of the miseries of material existence." Such a beautiful statement this is, that when we hear about this most confidential knowledge, and when you hear and you get that realization, then what happens is we get relieved of the miseries of this material existence. And if you see, when any living being, leaves this mortal world, what do people do? They read the Bhagavad Gita. Why? Just to relieve the relatives from the miseries of that material existence, so that they can uh, recover from the loss of their loved ones. So if you see in this particular also context, where he's saying that idam tu te guhyatam. Idam tu te means, okay, I'll be speaking to you this, guhyatamam. Guhyatamam is the most confidential knowledge. So when you say guhya is confidential, guhyatam is like, most confidential. And guhyatara is also there in between, when you say comparative, superlative, and positive, comparative, and superlative. So guhya is positive. Guhyatara, the more confidential, is comparative, and Guhyatamam is the most confidential knowledge. So if you see, the chapter title, comes with, Raj Guhya and Guhyatam, right? And, many times we've discussed this earlier also in many of my other classes also, that when I'm saying Guhya is referring to confidential. Guhyatara is more confidential. Guhyatamam is most confidential. So Krishna has used this superlative Guhyatamam many times in the Bhagavad Gita. And in each context, we see that it is used in the context of bhakti only. He hasn't used in the context of anything else other than bhakti. And many times the impersonalists also, they argue that the higher knowledge of the absolute is the impersonal feature, or the impersonal absolute. But when we will see that Krishna again and again uses the word Guhyatamam, uh, to refer to this personal form or the personal absolute, and the devotion to that absolute truth. And that is why the devotion to that absolute truth is the most confidential knowledge. Something, it is not something which is like, the impersonally they say that, no, we have to bow down to something which is unborn within Krishna, which has to be worshipped that way. So Krishna, who is supposed to be worshipped, everyone. So Krishna is to be worshipped. And because Krishna is to be only worshipped, that is the most confidential knowledge. And that is why he is saying that Pravakshami Anusuyave. He is speaking to Arjuna because Arjuna is a non-envious person. That is why he is going to speak. Say, for example, okay, if I want to say some secret, to one of my best friends, right? So of course, if she's not envious about me, I'll speak that confidential knowledge. For example, somebody has purchased some very nice thing, or I've got a very nice gift from, my relative, and I don't want to show it to anybody, those who are not close to me. So if I'll tell my best friend that, hey, you know what? My relative gave me this thing. Now she will appreciate that. Why? Because she's non-envious of me, right? And she and because she's non-envious of me, I will open up my heart more and more to her. Whatever is the most confidential part in my inner chamber of my heart, I will open it up to her because I know she's non-envious. And see, non-envious is such a thing. Now you come to know from the um, facial expressions or the mirror of the face, right? Because the face is the mirror of the heart. So immediately you come to know that who is envious of you and who's not envious of you. And when you spend some more time, you know that, okay, this person is not really very favorable with me. He has his point of view of looking at me, or his perceptions about me. So that is why Krishna is saying that, hey Arjun, because you are non-envious of me, so I will speak to you. And why does Krishna say that, Because uh, the relationship between the two, right? When Krishna is saying that, there is a relationship between Arjuna and himself, right? So, even in the fourth chapter, if you see, that Krishna had told that I'll speak this knowledge to you. And Krishna said, I'll speak to you this knowledge too, because see, I had given this knowledge to Vivaswan long ago. And then that is why he's saying that, okay, this knowledge, because it was lost, now I want to revive it back again. But I want to revive it back again, who is a very confidential person of mine, right? So he said that I'll give this knowledge back to you again, because you are Bhaktosmi me Sakha Cheti. Because of, you are a devotee, because of your devotion, and you're not envious of me, right? Because see, if you see devotion and envy, these are two opposite things, okay? You can't be devoted and you cannot be envious simultaneously. Either you be devoted or either you be envious, right? And these are two opposite emotions, you can say. So devotion means what? We rejoice in the Supreme Lord's glory. We rejoice in Krishna's glory, right? Let only Krishna be glorified. Let Krishna only be worshipped. Let Krishna only be, getting all the, honor that he deserves, right? And when somebody is worshipping Krishna, we don't envy that pujari. When somebody is offering some very nice, palatable foodstuffs, we don't envy. Like, for example, when I go in the kitchen, there are so many Matajis who are very much expert, in cooking and as such, right? So when we see that, oh, she has prepared such a wonderful sweet for Krishna, we don't envy. Why? Because we don't envy Krishna. We want that, yes, Krishna should get the best of best. Mother Yashoda used to cook the best of best. Srimati Radharani cooks the best of best for Krishna, to please Krishna. And that is a way they express their love for Krishna, through cooking, through offering some palatable dishes to Krishna. So we don't envy Krishna, right? Because if somebody else is preparing, and yeah, we don't, inside me hum log jalte nahi hai. We don't get burnt inside, because we feel that, say, why do we get burned, from inside as such? Because we feel, hey, I wanted to be glorious, I wanted to be famous, I wanted to be great. Why Krishna is so great, and I wanted to be great. So These two emotions are completely opposite. When there is devotion, there is absolutely no envy. Not even point, not one envy is there. Okay. So, the more devotion we have, the more we understand Krishna's glory, and the more our hearts will be filled with joy. And when when our hearts will be filled with joy, because see, when we have a competition with Krishna, instead of being actually devoted to Krishna, then uh, the more we hear Krishna's glory, we feel that, hey, I wanted to be like that. Why is he enjoying so much? So, if one is envious, when he is hearing about Krishna, and if such people are hearing more of this glory, then these people's envy will increase more and more. And that is why Krishna will never reveal to such people his glory. So, Krishna does not want to be the cause of their envious nature. Um, Krishna does not want to cause, that enviousness, so that person becomes more envious, he becomes more offensive, or he becomes more burnt up. Because what happens is that these all things will only lead to, more of this person's durbhagya, you can say, spiritual misfortune for him, for himself. And that is why Krishna does not reveal his glory, to those who are not devoted, those who are envious. And he will reveal his glory to those who are devoted to him. Why? Because, see, two opposites. जितना मैं भगवान के बारे में सुनूंगी, the more I will hear and become envious of Krishna. But if I'm a devoted person, if I'm not envious towards Krishna, the more I will hear Krishna's glory, the more I will be devoted. So two paths are there, and in one path I'll become spiritually misfortune. It will be a spiritual misfortune. But on this side, I will become more and more and more and more and more and more attached to Krishna the more I hear. And that is why the more you hear about the Supreme Lord with a clean heart, with a heart that yes, he is the, see, for that you have to be convinced, okay, that he is only the Bhoktaram, and he is only Sarvaloka, he is the proprietor, he is the enjoyer, he is the proprietor, he is the ever well-wishing friend of every living entity. And that is why, I need to hear more and more about him. The more I hear about him, my anarthas will keep falling apart. I have got so many anarthas. And sometimes slight envy also, that tinge of envy also I don't want for Krishna. Because I want to, I want to increase my spiritual, credits, and not decrease them, right? So those who are, those who are devoted to Krishna, Krishna reveals his glory to them. And then the attraction will increase, and the attraction to Krishna will increase, and then there is no animosity actually between them and Krishna. And so then, Krishna reveals his glory because they are not envious enough. So, see, Krishna, no, he wants to hide his glory to anyone. Not that, Krishna wants to keep the spiritual knowledge, purposefully or deliberately with him. But see, this is a confidential knowledge, which means that he wants to protect, that knowledge from those who are envious of him, which will, which will, what you can say, those who are envious to him from, further creating miseries for them and own selves. Because if you're envious, you're creating miseries for your own self. So that is why Krishna is saying that I'll speak to you this most confidential knowledge because you are non-envious to me. And then he's saying that Jnanam Vijnanam Sahitam. See, that how am I giving this knowledge to you? So see, knowledge has two aspects. Okay, one is this Jnanam, but then the second is this Vijnanam also. So Krishna has used, if you see, it's a compound word, okay? Jnanam and Vijnanam. When I say compound word means what? When I say foot plus ball is football. So he's used this compound word, Jnanam Vijnanam. And he has used this even in the 6th chapter also. Jnanam Vijnanam Tripta Atma. Anybody who's got this Jnan, and so there is a chemistry actually in this, okay? When I'm taking Jnanam, when I take knowledge, and when I apply that knowledge, then that knowledge turns into realized knowledge. That knowledge turns into Vijnanam. So maybe it's like an equation. So knowledge plus application is equal to realization, that way. So he's saying that you will get this knowledge, and with that knowledge, when you apply it, you will get Vijnanam also. Yeah, because see, uh, um, uh, mm, at one place he had said that Kutasto Vijitendriya, right? There he had said that anybody who has taken this knowledge or acquired this knowledge, you can say, that and realization, that person will become very much satisfied. And Krishna is using over here also, in the 7th chapter also, in fact, he has used that Jnanam Vijnanam, right? And over here also he's using. So Jnanam Vijnanam, you know, Jnana comes only when you apply, when Vijnanam comes only when you apply that Jnanam. So Jnanam te aham sa Vijnanam. At one more place also he has spoken this in the 7th chapter. So Krishna says that, okay, I'll give you this knowledge. And what will happen with this knowledge? Because see, when Krishna is giving this knowledge, he's giving a complete knowledge. Okay. And once you know this particular knowledge, then there is nothing more for you to know. So if you see in our movement also, all our acharyas, okay, the current acharyas and the previous acharyas, they all wanted. In fact, Srila Prabhupada also wanted his followers who are very much scientifically trained. He wanted that this knowledge should be presented scientifically to the world. And that is why he wanted his disciples to start a scientific magazine also. And that scientific magazine's name, he had named it Savigyanam. So if you see the devotees from the Bhakti Vedanta Institute, they were trying to run this magazine Savigyanam. So they asked Prabhupada, can we call it Vigyanam? So the Srila Prabhupada said, no, 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 no. Call it Savigyanam. So, the word Vijnanam is used as science in today, but the Bhagavad Gita uses the word Savigyanam. Okay, that actually this knowledge which is being given, this knowledge is already with realization given. Jnanam Vijnanam. It's a realized knowledge. So, when I'm saying Gyan means, it is theoretical knowledge. Okay. When in our school times also we have experienced that what do? In the science subject, our teacher used to give us some knowledge, right? It was a theoretical knowledge. And when we used to practically go in the, physics laboratory or bio lab or the chemistry lab, we used to go, then we used to see, okay, the teacher had said that red litmus turns blue. So then that becomes, when you're applying, that becomes actually realized knowledge, because you're seeing now, you did something, what the theoretical knowledge says, you did some actions, and then you're seeing. So that becomes like, Vijnanam, scientific knowledge, that way. So, bhakti yoga is also, not something theoretical. Okay. Because Krishna's glories that are there are not something, something, or the knowledge about Krishna is not something theory, right? And that is why when we say that it is Savijnanam, so when Gyan is theoretical knowledge, but it is not just theoretical knowledge. When the process of Bhakti Yoga offers not only theoretical knowledge, but Krishna's glory also. So it is experiential also knowledge, and it is a transformational realization also. And the if you see that particular knowledge, when a particular person has a transformational realization, like see in our own lives also, we have seen what we used to do previously before coming to Krishna consciousness, and now what we are doing. So isn't bhakti yoga transformed our life? And because we have our past realizations, we continue in bhakti, right? So there is a sweetness of Krishna's glory in bhakti. And that is why he's saying that Savijnanam. And so Krishna is saying that, with Jnanam, Vijnanam, Sahitam, with this, that. And then he's saying that, okay, with Jnanam and with Vijnanam Sahitam, okay, then what will happen? When you know this, Gyatma, because even in the 5th chapter, it says, Gyatva mam shantim richati. Anybody who knows these three things, that Krishna is the supreme enjoyer and proprietor and the ever well wishing, he will be released from this miserable material existence. So he's saying that mokshe shubhata. So अशुभात, right? अशुभ, उसके जीवन में जो कुछ भी अशुभ होगा, वो क्या हो जाएगा? उससे मुक्त हो जाएगा. He will be completely free from all that inauspiciousness that is there. And when, see, when we do inauspicious activities, it will bring misery in the future. So he's saying that we will not do any activity which will lead to misery in the future. So Krishna doesn't necessarily say that you will become free from all miseries now. Instantly, nahi. But what he's saying that in this, because see, in this world, no, we cannot become free from all miseries entirely, and not even, it's not like in a 2-minute instant noodle or something like that. But when we, like, see, when we are sick, we all have to go through some misery because of that sickness, right? But if we are taking treatment, then gradually what will happen is, as we keep on taking the treatment, we'll become, free from that particular sickness. We'll become free from that, disease, whatever is there. And then we'll become free from, misery. So if at the time of sickness, we do activities which will aggravate the sickness, then the misery will also increase. Abhi bhi, if you see, we are in a sick state, right? Because we've forgotten Krishna. So that will keep on increasing. But if at that time we take some proper medicine, right now, what is the medicine for us? Chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Then what will happen? The disease will gradually be cured. We won't be doing anything which will increase our misery. We won't be doing intoxication. We won't be doing gambling, illicit sex, and meat eating and all that, right? So we won't be doing anything which will, increase our misery. So in that sense, yad gyatva mokshe ashubhat, he's saying, we'll become free from all these inauspicious activities which will lead to miseries, and we will be free from all these miseries. So somebody may wonder that how Krishna will give jnana and vijnanam. Normally, normal knowledge only somebody else can give, but realization is something that we have to get. How it can be, said that Krishna will give knowledge also and realization too? Because for realization, I have to do something, no? Right? So, how is it that Krishna will give knowledge also and realization? So, see, both actually, realization is something which we only have to get, but Krishna can give us that process by which we can get that realization. So when Krishna says something, he says that whatever you eat, whatever you do, you offer it to me. So when you offer it, then you get that realization, right? When you put it in application. So uh, Krishna is going to give us such a process which will help us to apply this particular knowledge. So when I say jnanam, or knowledge. So it's just like, okay, we have diagnosed what is the problem. Okay, we've diagnosed the sickness. But Vijnana is like the prescription. Like, when you go to the doctor, okay, the doctor, when I say the doctor, oh, doctor, I'm having a pain in the stomach. Then the doctor gives us an elaborate, 45 minutes gyan or knowledge, right? And about whatever different problems that can be because of the stomach and all, and which can cause that pain, and then he gives a description of what is the specific problem in your stomach. And also, he says that, okay, now you can go, your time is over, okay, finish now, okay, jitna gyan dena tha mujhe de diya maine. So then what will you say? Now I don't know what to do, and I don't know what to know, what is wrong. I wanted to know that I have a pain in my stomach, okay, and how can I set it right? And a diagnosis is not much of a use without a prescription that is written. So Krishna is saying that Jnanam Vijnanam Sahitam means that he is giving the diagnosis and the prescription. And when this particular devotee or patient, he will take that prescription, then that patient will get cured. So, yat gyatva mokshe ashubhat. So then when you take that prescription, then you'll become free from that misery. You become, very happy also, of course, because Krishna wants his children to be happy, right? So Prabhupada's purport also, if you see, that Srila Prabhupada is mentioning, the glories of Shravanam, as a devotee hears more and more about the Supreme Lord, he becomes enlightened. This hearing process is recommended in the Srimad Bhagavatam. The messages of the Supreme Personality of Godhead are full of potencies, and these potencies can be realized if the topics regarding the Supreme Godhead are discussed among the devotees. This cannot be achieved by the association of mental speculators or academic scholars, for it is realized knowledge. And that is why, if you see that, uh, you know, when Krishna is saying that, Arjuna, that you will get, the result of all this gyan that you have, what will happen is all your material, miseries will go away. tapta, anything that is burning, that will completely go away. And that is why you will be completely happy in that situation. So if you see, this first verse, has a very specific significance, what Prabhupada is saying actually over here. That he is actually giving also the synopsis of the first chapter, from the first chapter. Okay, the introduction, the second chapter, the third chapter, and then he's giving, of course, whatever I spoke, I've spoken from Prabhupada's purport only. And then he's saying that this first verse has a very specific significance. Idam Jnanam. This knowledge refers to pure devotional service, which consists of 9 different activities. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Pada Sevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasim, Sakyam, Atma Nivedanam. Surrendering everything. By the practice of these 9 elements of devotional service, one is elevated to the spiritual conscious, Krishna conscious. So this is a practical thing that is been given. And then Prabhupada is talking about, where he's saying that simply to understand that a living entity is not material, is not sufficient. That may be the beginning of spiritual realization, but one should recognize the difference between the activities of the body and the spiritual activities of one who understands that he is not the body. So simply to understand that a living entity is not material, because that is the beginning. What he's saying, that we have to understand that I am not the body, but I am the soul. And that is why he's saying that Vijnanam is to understand. But one should recognize the difference between, these two activities. That is Vijnanam. The different, but one should recognize the difference between the activities of the body and spiritual activities. Spiritual activities will be to please Krishna, will be to please Krishna's senses. But activities of my body will be for my own sense gratification. Now, this actually, when we understand, and that is Vijnanam, that is realized knowledge. And we understand, and that is why when he's going to the overview of this particular chapter, so this chapter is completely, he is saying that the 7th chapter also we have, already discussed the opulent potency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, his different energies, the inferior and superior natures, and all his manifestations. And now he's saying that in chapter 9, the glories of the Lord will be delineated. We'll be speaking more about the glories of the Supreme Lord as such. So let's go to the next shloka. Sorry, we took just almost, you can say, 40 minutes for this only shloka. But this was necessary to set the scene, to understand that how when we actually, with a non-envious attitude, we worship Krishna, we'll be able to get more dive more deeper and deeper into the spiritual realm. So the famous shloka he speaks over here, Krishna speaks over here, then Raj Vidya Raj Guhyam Pavitram Idam Uttamam Pravakshamangamam Dharmyam Susukham Kartum Avyayam. Susukham Kartum Avyayam. So he says that this knowledge is the king of education, the most secret of all secrets. It is the purest knowledge, and because it gives direct perception of the self by realization, it is the perfection of religion. It is everlasting and it is joyfully performed. So many characteristics of this knowledge, Krishna is describing. Krishna is a very descriptive Lord, actually. Very wonderfully, he is describing that. What are his characteristics? So, he's saying that Raj Vidya Raj Guhyam. This is the king of knowledge. And it is Raj Guhyam. It is the, most confidential knowledge. And this knowledge is what? पवित्रम है, ये बहुत पवित्र ज्ञान दे रहा हूं मैं आपको. Very pure knowledge I'm going to give you. And then he's saying that um, uh, idam uttamam. So I'm giving you pure knowledge, but that knowledge is what uttamam. It is a transcendental knowledge. Why? Because see, when you say the word uttam and when you say transcendental, so this knowledge is beyond darkness of this particular world. This world is completely dark. Ignorance में बेचारा पल रहा है, right? But that knowledge, that spiritual world, which is a transcendental world, which is completely enlightened, the 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 living entities or the Brajavasis over there, they're completely enlightened that I am meant only to serve Krishna. My existence is only for Krishna's service and to please Krishna. So that enlightenment, the spiritual world Brajavasis have. And then he's saying that Pratyaksha Avagamam Dharmyam. So, what it is giving, Pratyaksha Praman, when he's in a direct experience, there we all have experience. Otherwise, I and you wouldn't be sitting over here, reading the Bhagavad Gita. We all have this direct experience of serving the Supreme Lord to our, individual capacities, right? And then he's saying that it is giving me realization. And this knowledge, see, what is this knowledge? Firstly, it is the king of knowledge, whatever Krishna is doing. Then it is the confidential knowledge. Then it is the purest knowledge. It is the most uttam knowledge, most transcendental knowledge. Then it is the pratyaksha knowledge, sixth, right? And it is dharmyam, seventh. And then it is what? Your knowledge is susukham. Anybody who hears this knowledge will be very happy hearing this knowledge and will be happy also when he's hearing and when he's applying it also, and post application also, he will always be happy. Susukham kartum avyayam. This knowledge is eternal, everlasting, avyayam. So, avyayam means what? So, because kartum avyayam, he's saying, So then, it is joyfully performed. Why? Because anything that you will do on your own and you get a little joy, you'll feel like doing it a little more. Like, for example, with chanting. Okay, now why are we doing, chanting over the period of years? There is some realizations we get during chanting, something that we have a connection with Krishna, those realizations we get. And because see, even in our lectures, when we keep on hearing, that chanting is the easiest way to please Krishna. You don't have to use anything. You don't have to do any investment also. Just the investment of your time and sincerity, that much, you'll be able to please Krishna. So when you are doing it, then slowly, slowly you get, that small steps when you take, you get that enjoyment. So this is what, and even see, Prabhupada has also written, he's written in his purport that now, see, okay, what is the beauty of Srila Prabhupada's purport? I would like to explain that also. When Prabhupada writes his purports, what is his style? So this first particular, line, he will explain in the first paragraph. This chapter of the Bhagavad Gita is called the King of Education because it's the essence of all the doctrines and all. Okay. Yeah. Then the second line, Pavitram Idam Uttamam, he'll explain in the second para. The third line, he'll explain in the third para. And the fourth line, and in case, okay, if he has more paras also, he will keep on elaborating on those paras only. And then he will summarize what he has spoken. This is now see, this particular purport is going a little longer, right? Why? Because he wants to explain more. But over here now, he is summarizing, as will be seen in the Bhagavad Gita, actual devotion begins after liberation. After one is liberated, when one is situated in the Brahman position, one's devotional service begins. Sama sarveshu bhuteshu mad bhakti paramam, where previously the Krishna Brahma bhuta prasanna atma na sochati na kanjati. Sama sarveshu bhuteshu mad bhakti labate param. So no one can understand the Supreme but executing what? Karma, Jnana Yoga and Ashtanga Yoga. So by these activities, we cannot understand the Supreme Lord or any other, yoga, or even the physical yoga that we do in the morning, pranayam and, Surya Namaskars and all. No. By these yogic methods, one may take a little progress towards bhakti, but without coming to the stage of devotional service, without doing any practical service, one cannot understand what is the personal Godhead. In the Srimad Bhagavatam also it is confirmed that when one becomes purified by executing the process of devotional service, especially by hearing Srimad Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita from the realized souls, he then can understand the science of Krishna or the science of God. And that is where Prabhupada is using this. Evam prasanna manaso bhagavad bhakti yogata. When one's heart is cleared of all nonsense, then one can understand what God is. Thus, the process of devotional service of Krishna consciousness is the king of all education. See, thus is summarizing, right? Education and the king of all knowledge. It is the purest of the religion and it can be executed joyfully without difficulty. Therefore, one should adopt it. Prabhupada is summarizing. This is Prabhupada's style of actually writing purports where he's explaining. Sometimes he'll explain every word. He'll pick up every word. And on every word, he's elaborating. He's giving an explanation on every word. So this is Prabhupada's style of actually writing purports, which even I never knew. So when I used to stay in Delhi on every Thursday, Monday and Thursday morning. I used to travel to Vrindavan, and mm, mm, I used to study under a Mataji called Yashodamai Mataji. She's a disciple of His Holiness Lokanath Swami Maharaj. So Mondays, because she used to take classes only on these 2 days. And for me, I used to feel that I want to really, somehow either get the Bhagavad Gita. So this was after my Bhakti Shastri, which I had done in Vrindavan. But I was more, inclined towards her. And the way she used to teach was also very nice. So I used to travel Monday morning and then come back Monday evening. And then Thursday morning again, I used to travel. And in those days, I used to take a holiday because she had a course that was going long for maybe 8 months. That how to study the Bhagavad Gita, how to understand Srila Prabhupada's purport. And she used to explain in a very motherly way. So she had told this thing at that point of time that how Prabhupada is writing these purports. And I'm sure most of you all must be knowing Her Grace Yashodamai Mataji. So he's saying that Raj Vidya. When I'm saying Raj also and Vidya also. Raja bhi hai or Vidya bhi hai. So again, this is a compound word. And when I'm saying king of knowledge. So, or the knowledge of, the kings. What does, the knowledge of the king mean? Means what? Krishna has told that, previous recipe, this, knowledge is coming in parampara. Evam parampara praptam. Imam Raj Rishi Viduhu. So that knowledge, this particular knowledge is, acquired even by the Raj Rishis, the saintly kings, right? Raja bhi hai or Rishi bhi hai. He's a king also, but he's a saint also. That is why he's a saintly king. So it is this knowledge of the kings, okay? And why this knowledge of the kings? Because somebody might just, say that, oh, is this knowledge only made for kings? No, Krishna is saying that all of us uh, are also kings. Or Bhagavad Gita is made for people to make them kings, right? And of course, what does this mean actually? That the idea is that the Bhagavad Gita doesn't talk about renouncing this world. Bhagavad Gita is not speaking that you renounce everything and you go to the jungle and you perform devotional service. No, Bhagavad Gita is not actually speaking about that. Bhagavad Gita is speaking about how do you live in this world, you act in this particular world, and you can pursue, you can say, um, transcendent you can uh, pursue this transcendental knowledge also, and liberation as well. So and being in this world, you can do these two things. So uh, acting in this world is like a primary prerogative. Okay, like for Arjuna, he had to be a Kshatriya, right? And the Brahmanas are at a little, bit distance from the world. The Brahmanas are important, but the Bhagavad Gita is respecting the Brahmanas, and it is using that Brahmanas are those person who are giving us this knowledge. So Krishna is talking about the characteristics of even the Brahmanas. Like in the later 18th chapter, he will say what are the characteristics of Brahmanas, the characteristics of Kshatriyas and Vaishyas and Shudras and everything. And but he's saying that Brahmanas can give knowledge. So you see in our movement of and when can a Brahmana give knowledge to us? When he has those qualities which over a period of time he has practiced and is putting into action on a daily basis in his life. Like if you see the 18th chapter, 42 shloka, he says that sama dama tapa, these are the qualities of sama dama tapa socham shantir arjavan evacha jnanam vijnanam asiktakyam brahma karma subhavajam. So see, peacefulness, self-control, austerity, purity, tolerance, honesty, knowledge, wisdom, and religiousness. These are the natural qualities by which the Brahmanas work. So see, by nature, Brahmanas are peaceful. By nature, they are self-controlled. They will never give up to sense gratification. They are austere. They will wake up early in the morning. They will chant their rounds and perform their spiritual duties. They are pure also. Pure means what? What they are inside, they are outside. There is no hypocrisy that, okay, inside I am something and outside. Then they're more tolerant also. For tolerance, we remember that story of that Brahmana where there was a, what is that? There was a crab or what it was, bichu. बिच्छू को क्या बोलते हैं इंग्लिश में?
And Hare Krishna, scorpion.
Ah, scorpion, yes. So this particular scorpion, right? The Brahmana was trying to save the scorpion from drowning. But the moment the Brahmana held it in his hand, the scorpion used to bite. Again, so there was another person. This happened multiple times. There was another person who was actually, seeing this particular scene that, how many ever times the Brahmana is trying to actually save that scorpion, but the scorpion is actually, again and again, stinging that particular Brahmana. So I think, why are you doing this? Let him go and drown, let him die. Why you're trying to save him, and this guy is trying to, just sting you. So the Brahmana tells that other man that, see, I'm a Brahmana. My nature is to show compassion and tolerance. His nature is to sting. So he is following his dharma and I am following my dharma. I'm following my nature. So even if he'll sting me again and again, I will still try to save him. So that is the tolerance the Brahmanas have. And then honesty, knowledge. Knowledge means what on a daily basis they read also, and then they explain it to others. And by knowledge comes wisdom and then religiousness. Okay, they are by religious by nature. They will not do anything which is against the codes and conducts of religion or dharma, you can say that way. So these are the characteristics of a Brahmana. And but the Brahmana can give knowledge to the Kshatriyas, and the Kshatriyas implement that particular knowledge, through their own social policies and cultural policies and economic policies. And then that knowledge is implemented. So there is knowledge that is given and the knowledge that is implemented. Both are important. So, like when I say, what does knowledge that is implemented? What does the word implementation mean? Because see, it is primarily that is Kshatriyas have to have that knowledge, and Kshatriyas are anyway going to act, no matter what is the social condition, if they are degraded or they are exalted, or they are always going to the people. And with that Kshatriya inclination, that is, people are going to manage, they're going to lead, they're going to, so those people who are not spiritually educated, then they will act according to their own ideas. Like, King Vena, what did he do? He never had any spiritual knowledge. He never listened to any Brahmanas, right? So these people, they will create, they will create complications and it will lead to trouble, and they'll, a greater havoc will be created. So if the Kshatriyas are, you can say, spiritually guided, then they will act properly and they will, be able to set up some systems with this knowledge, and this knowledge will be shared by with the others, the common citizens of their own country. It will be shared, and uh, there'll be no monopoly as such with a particular community, but then there'll be some strategies set. So this knowledge is very effectively distributed to the Kshatriyas, so that the people who are going to be influenced, you know, uh, uh, or those who are under the Kshatriyas, so then they will be inspired by the knowledge. And if they are inspired by the knowledge of the Bhagavad Gita, then they'll be able to even give knowledge to everyone, right? So Raj Vidya. So, it is Vidya of the Rajas, the knowledge of the kings, and knowledge of all also. King of all knowledge also. King of all knowledge means what? When Krishna is saying, in the 10th chapter, he's saying that Adhyatma Adhyatma Vidya Nam. He's saying that there are different kinds of Vidya. That, I'm Adhyatma Vidya. Adhyatma Vidya means actually spiritual knowledge. And because the spiritual knowledge is the best of all knowledges, right? It is the most intimately connected to us, and it gives the best result to us. So there are, different kinds of knowledges, but uh, the king is the most powerful person, right? And can bring about transformation. So among all these different kinds of knowledge that can bring about, transformation, this knowledge which Krishna is giving, that can bring about a great amount of transformation. We can have, uh, we can say that biggest revolution we can have. And if you see in Prabhupada's time also, within a short span of time, Prabhupada started in 66, he left in 77. Within a short span of 11 years, such a huge transformation all around the world, such a huge transformation of, this knowledge which was imparted, that in 11 years, the whole world got swept with this particular knowledge, and everybody was inspired by this knowledge because they were immediately able to have that direct experience. They were able to have that yes, my life is changing in a positive side. I'm free from stress, anxiety, and so many other wrongdoings, and so many anarthas were there in my heart, which are getting cleansed. So Prabhupada is, explaining from, that there are many Vedic philosophical, cultural and all, but this Vedic knowledge, this knowledge that is being given, to Arjuna, this is the best knowledge, and these are the characteristics of that particular knowledge. And Prabhupada is elaborately explaining in this particular purport many other things also. But primarily, the characteristics of this particular knowledge are beneficial to the mankind, and if one applies this particular knowledge, he will be benefited from this knowledge. So let's go to the next shloka. So see, in this first section, in these first three shlokas, Krishna is glorifying this knowledge that he's going to reveal. The most confidential knowledge is going to reveal, but before that, he's going to glorify, right? So sometimes, we actually, when we want that people should understand something, we glorify that particular person. Then we'll be able to understand. So over here also, he is glorifying that particular knowledge which he is going to give. And because Arjuna is, not envious, he's not very selfish person, and he does not see any faults in Krishna. That is why he is ready to give this knowledge to Arjuna. And then now in the second shloka, he gave the 8 characteristics of, this particular knowledge. In this third shloka, though he's saying that bhakti is joyful, and, the faithless and the envious person who do not perform bhakti, they are like, deprived of this supreme goal, of attaining. So he's going to say that who cannot attain Krishna. See, if you see now Krishna, now many times he has done a compare and a contrast of things. Like if you see, he has given a compare and contrast of the spiritual world and the material world also in the previous chapters. Or he has given, the compare and contrast between the demigods also and himself also. So first he will give a negative connotation, and then he will give a positive, connotation of both the things that he wants to explain. So now, when a person uh, does not have knowledge, he will be faithless. But if he has knowledge, then he will develop that faith. But primarily, Krishna over here is going to speak that, okay, anybody who is faithless, he cannot understand me. So he says that अश्रद्धान पुरुषा धर्मस्य परन्तप अप्राप्य मां निर्वन्तन्ते मृत्यु संसार वर्तमनि. So he's saying that those who are not faithful in this devotional service cannot attain me. So even if somebody is doing devotional service, but if he is not faithful to Krishna, if he is not completely on side of Krishna, there's some people are dangling between demigods and Krishna. Sometimes they go to demigods, sometimes they come to Krishna. Then this is what Krishna is saying. They're not faithful. Like, when you say a faithful, loyal dog of Prabhupada, a faithful, loyal dog of my master. So this is what Krishna is actually speaking, that cannot attain me. O conqueror of enemies, therefore they return to the path of birth and death in this material world. If I am not faithful to Prabhupada, if I am not faithful to this parampara, and I keep on going out in different directions to find happiness here and there and with this person and that person and hearing from this person and that person has to come again and again in this material world. So what is Prabhupada saying? The faithless cannot accomplish this process of devotional service. Other than our parampara, if we are hearing from somebody else, so we will have to take birth again and again in this material world. And that is why it is so very important that you hear only within the parampara and you don't hear from anybody outside this parampara. That is called a faithful person. And now why am I saying this with great confidence? Because when we say that faith is created by the association with devotees, that devotee who is in a particular parampara, because we have 4 bona fide paramparas, right? We have the Brahma Madhav Gaudiya Sampradaya, the Sri Sampradaya, the Kumar Sampradaya, or the Kumar Sampradaya, the Rudra Sampradaya. We have these 4 paramparas, right? And anybody hearing anything outside this, because there is no parampara outside these 4. And if there are paramparas, then they're all mentally concocted paramparas. That is why Prabhupada is very strongly saying away that faith is created by association with devotees. Unfortunate people, even after hearing all the evidence of the Vedic literature from great personalities, still have no faith in God. They are hesitant and cannot stay fixed in devotional service of the Lord. Why? Because they want something from the Lord. They don't want to give something, but they just want to take something from the Lord. Of course, see, whenever I'm preaching to myself also, because why I'm preaching to myself equally also, because I should also not fall prey into this particular category. Maya is so strong that it can take anybody, in 1 second, it can just swipe that person off devotional service. So that is why faith is a most important factor for the progress in Krishna consciousness. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, sorry, it is said that faith is the complete conviction that simply by serving the Supreme Lord, I can achieve all perfection. Okay, so this conviction we should have, and that is called real faith. So this faith, when you say, when you have this real faith, it comes to nishtha, firm faith, that now I'm not going to budge an inch outside of this particular parampara or outside anywhere else, of this particular parampara. And that is why he's saying that Ashraddhadhana. So if you see that when he's saying that Ashraddhadhana Purusha, those who are not having faith. And then he's saying that Dharmasya Asya Parantapaha. So he's saying that in the Dharma, so see, any person who does not have faith in that Dharmasya, he does not have faith towards the process of religion or dharma, right? And he's saying aprapya mama nirvantati, because aprapya, this person will not attain me. But then what will happen? He will come back. Mrityu samsara vartamani. He will continue in this cycle of birth and death. He'll have to come again and again. So Krishna is describing, the consequence of a person who is faithless. That again and again he has to come into the cycle of birth and death. Because, say, for example, I don't have faith in a medicine. Okay. So I will not get cured. And I will continue with all the diseases that I have. Lust, greed, anger, pride, envy, and all, right? And I'll be in the same condition. So similarly, here also Krishna is telling that this particular medicine can cure. Okay. And but if we don't take that medicine, and if we do not have faith in the medicine, then we will not take that medicine. If we don't take that medicine, we will continue, So he's saying that if I don't take that medicine, what will happen? Two things will happen. One is aprapya mama, that is, you will not, you will not attain me. And then he's saying that you will mrityu samsara vartamani. You will again and again fall in the cycle of birth and death. So when we will not attain Krishna, Krishna nirvantante. So he's saying that we will, if we will do, if we are faithful, then we will return back. But if we are not faithful, then when will we return back? We will return back to this path of birth and death. And Prabhupada, if you say, has a very, purposefully or, can say elaborately also spoken about faith. And he's talking about faith in terms of, he's talking about a faith or in three divisions. Okay, there are three divisions of Krishna conscious men. In the third class, there are those who have no faith. Even if they are officially engaged in devotion, they cannot achieve the highest perfection state. So see, he is speaking about the Kanishta Adhikari, the Kanishta Bhakta. Kanishta means the neophytes. He's speaking about the Madhyam Adhikari, who has spent some amount of time, and he's speaking about about the Uttam Adhikari, devotee. Okay. In the nectar of instruction, we will see more about these, and then elaborately we will see. But primarily, Prabhupada is actually saying that the development of that faith is the process of Krishna consciousness. From a Kanishta level to the Madhyama level to the Uttama level. Okay. So when people come into the Krishna conscious movement, initially we are Kanishtas. Slowly, slowly, when we gain knowledge and we practice that knowledge to become to the Madhyama level and then to the Uttam level. So what is the process of Krishna consciousness? So sometimes, they ask, ye kya ye process? So is it supposed to develop that faith? And if we are developing that faith, we are doing Krishna conscious activities. So naturally, we are practicing, Krishna conscious sincerely. Then we will experience purification. And when we'll experience purification, then we'll definitely experience satisfaction only. And when we'll experience satisfaction, that will keep on helping us going, ahead. In Krishna conscious, it will keep us increasing our faith. Because see, the example that I'm giving is that patient, okay, that patient who is cured of the disease will keep on experiencing and relishing that particular cure. हाँ मैं ठीक हो गया, मैंने अभी एक दवाई लिया, मुझे 25% ठीक हो गया, मैंने नेक्स्ट डोज लिया, मैं 50% ठीक हो गया. Okay, but with Krishna consciousness we have to have patience, because my disease is from 84 lakh species of birth that I have taken, and over a period of so many millions of births, there is so much of dirt and dust accumulated on my consciousness. And cleaning that consciousness takes, some years or even some lifetimes. It depends on how are you taking up to the process. So, Srila Prabhupada has talked about what this faith is. He's talked about, how faith is at multiple levels, and like multiple levels where like from the basic he's starting, like does God exist, whether God is a person or a light, and these are the levels of faith that Prabhupada is speaking about. And then he's speaking about the Bhakti Yoga. So, and Srila Prabhupada is actually, correlating that faith to this Bhagavatam shloka, where he's saying that Yatha taror mula निश्चेचनैना तृप्यन्ति तत्स्कन्दभुजोपशाखः प्राणोपरा च यथेन्द्रियाणां तथे सर्वाहरम् अच्युतेज्यः. By giving water to the root of a tree, one satisfies its branches, twigs, and leaves, and by supplying food to the stomach, one satisfies all the sense of the body. Similarly, by engaging in the transcendental service of the Supreme Lord, one automatically satisfies all the demigods and all the other living entities also. Therefore, after reading the Bhagavad Gita, one should promptly come to the conclusion of the Bhagavad Gita. One should give up all other engagements and adopt the service of the Supreme Lord. He's saying that Sarva Dharma Parityajya Mam Ekam Sharanam Raja Aham Tam Sarva Papapi Mokshishami Masuja. So see what he's saying, that Yatha Taror. Taror means, Mula. Taror means, we know in Sanskrit is the tree, and Mula means the root, right? So taror is tree and the mole is, the nischanena. Nischanena means when we water, right? So what will happen when we are watering the root of the tree? What will happen? Then the tree will get tripyanti. Tripyanti means it will get satisfied, right? So then the remaining parts also, bhujo, the bhujai, the branches and the twigs and everything, the leaves and all will become satisfied by the practice of this watering the root of the tree. And that is why he's saying that all others will also become very satisfied. So, like, he is giving the analogy that uh, pranopachara. Pranopachara means, the prana vayu that is there in the stomach, that is when I'm starting buying the stomach, then all the other yathendriyanam, all the other indriyas, all the senses are also satisfied and the whole body becomes automatically satisfied. So if everybody is worshipping the Supreme Lord, right? And then he's saying, the conclusion he's saying over here is that Tatheva Sarvanam Achyutena. That is why everybody should worship the Supreme Lord Achyut, and he'll be satisfied by satisfying Achyuta, Lord Achyut. Okay, that way he's saying. So this verse is talking about the principle of spiritual mysticism. Somebody might wonder that what is the spiritual mysticism, that by satisfying Krishna, how will everybody be satisfied? It's really mystical, right? So it is not actually mystical in the sense that it is because we are not clear. It has to be experienced, and of course, devotional service is not mystical, right? The devotional because somebody can. It's not that okay, tomorrow somebody is doing bhakti and he's floating in the sky. No, not that way also. That may be one level of, siddhi, you can say. But the level of satisfaction that one gets, and that is going to give to the, that satisfaction is going to be given to people. And when they get that satisfaction, they will appreciate. And because say devotional service is everlasting, susukam kartum avyayam. And because they are getting that everlasting satisfaction, but when we understand, right, when we internalize these things, we realize that this principle that is, satisfying Krishna, I will become satisfied, then we will be having that happiness. And we'll have faith in this principle also. So this is a principle. When I satisfy Krishna, I will automatically be satisfied. Why? Because I'm watering the roots. Then when I'm watering the roots, then all the leaves, twigs, branches, all the other living entities, including me, we all will be satisfied, right? So, uh, uh, Prabhupada said that um, this particular principle, he is saying that this particular faith is being, and this faith is being actually glorified over here. Okay, that by serving Krishna, by loving Krishna, I will gain the highest happiness. And this faith, keeps on increasing very progressively from this Kanishta Adhikari devotee to the Madhyama to the Uttama. And, Kanishta will have a little, Komal faith. Komal faith means very, small faith or very less faith, right? But a Madhyam will have, and see, even in that Kanishta also, there are three levels. In that Madhyama also three levels. And even in the Uttama also there are three levels. So that's how, that Kanishta and, Madhyamadikari and all, will actually go. So Kanishta, Kanishta Madhyama, Kanishta Uttama, then Madhyam. Madhyam Kanishta, Madhyam Uttam. And then Uttam Kanishta, just, at the level of becoming a pure Uttama. Then Uttama Madhyama and Uttama Uttama. And sometimes this Uttama Uttama, he comes to the Madhyama level just for preaching sake. That way, actually, in the Nectar of Devotion, it's been said. So Prabhupada has mentioned about this Kanishta. Those who have no faith even after hearing about Krishna and the excellence of devotional service, who think that, okay, it is simply, a praise or it's just an exaggeration, and they find this path very difficult. And even if, they're engaged in devotional service, they are half-heartedly, they're engaged in devotional. So for them, very little hope of gaining perfection. And this faith is very important. Whatever I'm doing, even if I'm chanting in the morning, if I'm chanting in the morning, and if I don't have faith, I won't feel like chanting, right? I'll keep my rounds unattended. I'll do something else because I know I not feel like putting my hand in the bead bag, thinking that okay, there is something more interesting than chanting. So faith is very important. And as and when you have faith, you progress. But see, somebody might ask that how will I develop this faith? Then developing faith will be in the association of devotees only. I think somewhere it is written over here. Hmm. So faith you can develop only in the association of devotees. Faith you cannot develop, just on your own. When you see that this person has so much of faith in the Supreme Lord, so much he's convinced that he is following the rules and regulations, so dedicatedly. That's how you develop faith. Yeah, that way. So, second line, Priyanka is saying that, yes, faith is created by the association of devotees. Thank you, Priyanka. Thank you very much. It's created by the association of devotees. So, like, we recently have His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj, that so much faith he had in the words of his spiritual master, so much faith he had in the Supreme Lord. And because he had that faith, he laid down his life. His life was a sacrifice for this movement. He had so much faith in the words of the Supreme Lord that even the minutest of the minutest thing, just like example, just for like, man mana bhav mat bhakto, worship me, pay obeisances to me. Till the fag end of his life, He did not stop paying obeisances to the Lord, even when his body was completely bent and he had knee problem and he had a back problem and a lower back problem. Still, because he had that faith and he knew that yad yad acharitri shreshtas, whatever I will be doing, my my disciples also will be following the same thing. So even if his body was not allowing him, he dragged himself because of that faith he had in the words of his spiritual master, in the words of the Supreme Lord. And he did all those devotional activities, keeping Krishna and Srila Prabhupada in the center. So for him, when it is said that, Prabhupada said that, ISKCON is my body, right? So it's so much of faith that, this body is, my spiritual master's this body is. I have to maintain that body and I have to keep it, very healthy, this particular body. And he had stretched himself so much that he did not know what is a comfort zone. Currently, we all are in a comfort zone. Okay, I'm very comfortable, eating, sleeping, and all. But he did not know what is a comfort zone because he was always in a stretch zone only. Even when to that last day also, when he did the Bhumi Pujan of the Dehradun temple, he had two choices. Either I go to the bureau meeting and do the Bhumi Pujan of Dehradun temple, or I go to Chandigarh and give initiation to 750 devotees who are waiting for him from past 5-6 years. But he opted that no, I will go and actually attend the bureau meeting. I will go and do the Bhumi Pujan. Why? Because he's saying that people will think that, see, he's gone to make disciples, but Prabhupada's mission, he does not want to, go ahead and participate in that, the bureau meeting, because bureau meeting is a part of the GBC meeting, and GBC was formed by Prabhupada. So much of faith in Prabhupada he had that he did not go, he did not budge an inch also outside Prabhupada's words that Prabhupada has said. That is why he is called Prabhupada's man. This is the only reason why everybody is telling that why he is Prabhupada's man. And just as Prabhupada was specially empowered by the Supreme Lord, that in 11 years, Prabhupada made 108 temples all around the world. So Prabhupada did the creation part and he left. But now the expansion part was actually the responsibility of his disciples. And how was Maharaj so very specially empowered by Prabhupada? Because he never went outside the words of. And that is why he also became specially empowered by Srila Prabhupada to create so many temples all around the world and keep this Prabhupada's family intact. Otherwise, after Prabhupada had left, there was a havoc created in the ISKCON society. There's a big, because when an Acharya leaves, there are many reactions happening in that particular organization. But Maharaj and His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj and a couple of more sannyasis, they have kept this organization, this movement intact. They have not let it fall apart. Otherwise, after Prabhupada left, within a year or two, this whole organization would have fallen apart. This would have broken up into different sections. But Maharaj kept it intact. And, because if you see, the Maharaj's skills are such that he will ask everybody that what do you think about this project? What do you think about this? So he was a person, or he is a person who is taking everybody along. It's not like that only I am the leader, I will go in front and take all the credit. No. He is a person who wants to take everybody along and work in cooperation. He's very well known for his cooperative skills. He knew how to cooperate and run the organization, because only leaders will create leaders. And Prabhupada is a leader. He created so many leaders. And now so many leaders are there under Prabhupada. They are creating more leaders. So, and Prabhupada has said, that you become, everybody should become, and this is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's, prophecy, that you become a guru. But Prabhupada has said that also, that before becoming a guru, you need to practice the spiritual principles with faith and with determination, and then you can become guru. It's not like that all of a sudden you become a self-declared guru. Becoming a guru takes a very long time. It's not so easy that you become just a guru overnight. So that's how Srila Prabhupada, His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj, they followed the instructions. See, if you see that Srila Prabhupada also had got two instructions from his spiritual master, right? And Srila Prabhupada because he met Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur in 1922. He got initiation in 1933. And in 1936, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, went to the spiritual world, right? And Srila Prabhupada took that instruction seriously. He did not discard that instruction. He actually obeyed that instruction of his spiritual master. So you can postpone the instruction of the spiritual master, but you cannot discard the instruction of spiritual master. And he took it up very seriously. Now I want to follow, because 3 times the same instruction Srila Prabhupada is getting, that go to the west and preach, go to the west and preach, go to the west and preach. The last letter also that he had received, he got the same instruction. And when His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj was made the GBC of all Pan India, right? He still remains the GBC of Pan India, because he wanted to resign, as his Grace Dekinandan Prabhu was actually giving in his offering, that he wanted to resign, but the bureau members did not allow him to, because Srila Prabhupada had sent Maharaj as the GBC chairman of the whole of Pan India, and he left also as the chairman of the bureau or the GBC members, right? So, because Maharaj's health was not well, he time and again said, no, I want to resign. And he said that, this body is no longer useful in the service of Krishna. What is the, use of, living in this body? This is what he has said to his person servant just before going to Dehradun. He's saying, now my body is useless. It's not useful now. In the service of Krishna, what is the use of staying in this body? So Maharaj has left on the battlefront, and he has left on his own. He has chosen that place to be, just as Lord Bhishma Dev chose the place. He had Ichha Mrityu Vardhan. So Maharaj also chose the battlefield as his place of leaving this mortal world. And that's how he died as a warrior. He left this mortal world as a warrior, fighting for, Srila Prabhupada, fighting for Krishna. And he has done he has excelled the expectations of his spiritual master. Srila Prabhupada had initially said 11 temples in Delhi. Then he made it to like 13, and then he made it to 15, and then he made it 18 temples. Prabhupada, in one of the conversations, he said, okay, 11 temples, and then he said, and then Maharaj last, when he's inaugurating the Rohini temple, he's saying target achieved. And that is just on the day of what was that day? No, it was, I think, 26th Ram Navami time. Yes, Ram Navami time he inaugurated the Rohini temple, and then in that class, in that lecture, he said the target achieved as such. So see, now when I was actually contemplating on all these things, and I was thinking that I have not done anything so far substantial which I can even ever present to my own spiritual master. And now His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj has reached where Srila Prabhupada is. Prabhupada is actually preaching somewhere else, and now again he's gone to assist. Now he has something to show Prabhupada that yes, Prabhupada, whatever you wanted, I have done, I've achieved those targets, and then he can show. Because see, Maharaj's nature from the beginning was like this only. That he never used to show his face to Prabhupada till the time he had a book which is translated by Prabhupada. Because he was given that the responsibility of translating Prabhupada's books in different languages. So till the time he did not have a book translated in his hand to show to Prabhupada, he should never show his face. But now Maharaj has actually, left this model world to reach where Prabhupada is, and now he can show that yes, Prabhupada, whatever targets you had set for me, I've achieved all that targets, and I am actually now with you to, with more targets. So Prabhupada is going to give him more targets. It's not like that, okay, target achieved, now you sit and relax. No. Such divine souls will keep on stretching themselves, will keep on, क्या तो बोलते हैं ना, हिंदी में बोलते हैं, अपने आप को रगड़ते रहेंगे for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord, because this is the mission of the Supreme Lord to reclaim all the fallen souls back again. And such divine souls will keep on again and again and again coming. Yes, Sucharita, Prabhupada used to always say that, where is the book? Where is the book? So Maharaj decided that every time, he comes in front of Prabhupada, he will take a new book in front of Srila Prabhupada. Now, we cannot even imagine that going in front of the spiritual master, at least with me, मैं बहुत निर्लज्ज होके, I have gone in front of my spiritual master and not accomplished anything at all so far. But I feel that at least after he has left, let me do something substantial for his pleasure. Whatever projects he has left undone, whatever were his desires, let me at least fulfill those desires. Even if he did not have new desires, but at least those existing desires, let me continue with those existing desires, and let me at least become a perfect devotee, which my Guru Maharaj wants to be. And in many of his instructions, he has written what he is expecting from his disciples. In fact, his last will also speaks a lot about most of his desires, what he is expecting. So I said, at least the last will that he has, those 10 instructions, let me dedicatedly follow those 10 instructions. And he is given that will for all his disciples. It's not for only one disciple or two disciples. No. For those disciples, even who were aspiring from him and did not get initiated from him, those disciples also have to follow those instructions. So, uh, so very inspirational that when we are in association of such exalted devotees, our faith keeps on increasing. When we hear their Vani, when we follow those instructions, our faith will be that faith will turn to firm faith by the association, either Vapu association or Vani association. And very important that we take association of devotees on a daily basis. It's not, it's not once in a week or twice in a week. That greed for the association of the devotees on a daily basis, either online or offline. If it is offline, nothing like it. But if somebody is staying very far away from the temple, then at least an online association should be taken. You can join any of the, chanting groups or groups which are being formed by, senior devotees, and take association on a daily basis. So let's go to the next. I'll complete this with the next, So the faithless cannot, Prabhupada is giving the definition of real faith, that real faith is complete conviction that simply by serving Krishna and the Supreme Lord, I can achieve all perfection. And then from the fourth shloka onwards, Krishna is going to actually speak about his opulence. He's going to speak about his Aishwarya and his relationship with this material world. So he's saying that Maya tatam vidam sarvam jagat avyakta murtina matsthani sarva bhutani na chaham teshva avastitah. So he's saying that by me in my unmanifested form, this entire universe is pervaded. All beings are in me, but I am not in them. So he's saying that Maya. So Maya tatam idam sarvam. This, sarvam jagat, this whole cosmic manifestation, okay, is pervaded by me. And how is it, pervaded by me? Avyakta murtina, in my unmanifested form. And then he's saying that mat sthani sarva bhutani, this whole material world or this whole cosmic manifestation is situated in me. Mere mein sthit hai. And na chaham teshva avasthita. But I am not situated in this world. Now somebody might say, what is Krishna referring to? So Krishna is stating the definition of his relationship with the material world by explaining that he pervades in all of the existence, and now he's pervading in different various levels also. So various levels means what? One is whatever exists in his energy, that is material energy or whatever spiritual energy that is. He's talked about, see, material energy, spiritual energy, he spoke about in the 7th chapter also. So then he says that, because in the 7th chapter he says, Sutre Mani Ganeva, he's pervading everything, and it is like a thread. In the necklace you have a thread, and he's that underlining, undefining aspect, because when you have the beads, but the thread is not seen. Similarly, everything is there, but the Supreme Lord is not seen by anybody in this particular creation. So he's saying that Maya tatam idam sarvam. So it is in this, and avyakta murtina, he's saying that in his unmanifested form. So in his because see, many times, this unmanifested form now, people take it to be Brahma Jyoti. The impersonal say the Brahma Jyoti. No, this avyakta murtina is actually the energy of the Lord. And even Srila Prabhupada is also actually mentioning in his purport where that everything is emanating from the Supreme Lord, and all his energies can be used in the service of Krishna. So when he's saying that Jagat Avyakta Murtina, when he's saying this, na, which means that uh, 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 they are saying that this is Brahma Jyoti, but this is not Brahma Jyoti. Krishna is saying that uh, uh, everything. No, what is it saying? एक second. He's saying that generally Krishna is pervading in all the existence through the Brahma Jyoti. So, like, see, for example, Krishna is standing, and from him is emanating, an effulgence, and that effulgence is actually Brahma Jyoti, right? So then is pervading in all the existence through the Brahma Jyoti. So when he's saying that Matstani Sarva Bhutani, that is actually all the living beings are situated in Krishna. And then, so see, how are they? So all the living beings are situated in Krishna, or how are they situated? So they are situated means uh, in the aspect of super soul comes into picture over here, right? Because the super soul is within all the living beings. So he is sustaining everything, and he is sustaining all the living entities also. And that is why he's saying that no, I am not situated in them. So I am not situated in them means what? That he is transcendental. Okay. He is beyond this material world, and he's existing in the spiritual world. And he's saying that no, I am not situated in these things, in these living entities or in these things, but uh, they are situated in me. I am not situated. So Krishna is saying that in this context, Krishna is saying about that uh, how is relationship with the modes are also there, right? Because in the 11th, sorry, not 11th chapter, in the 7th chapter, he has spoken that uh, all the states of being are in me. They are in goodness, they are passion, they are in ignorance, and they are manifested by my energy. Because of my energy they are being manifested. And he says that in one sense I am every he says that I am everything, but he's saying that I am independent also. And he's saying that I am not under the modes of material nature. And uh, uh, because Krishna is not under the modes of material nature, and they are within me. So he's saying that Tribhir Guna Mair Bhaver Ebi Sarvam Idam Jagat Mohitam Nabi Janati Mamebhya Param Avyayam. He's saying that because these living entities are deluded by ignorance, passion, Tribhir Guna Mair Bhaver, they are deluded. And this whole world that is there, they do not know me at all. And because they are वो लोग मोहित है, मोहितम ना भी जानन्ति, because they are deluded, they do not know me. And I am what? I am above the three modes of material nature, and I am inexhaustible also. So he's saying over there that they are in me. I am not situated in them. They are situated in me. And he's saying that, see, because see, sometimes somebody might think that, okay, if Krishna is situated in me, now he's exhausted. No, he's not exhausted. By pervading in the living entities, he says that I am beyond this. I am transcendental to the three modes, and all the living entities are bewildered by these three modes. but I am transcendental to these three modes. And over here, he's saying that Nacha aham avasthita. So he's saying that I am not situated. And Prabhupada is also saying that, that we cannot understand, Krishna, and Krishna cannot be understood by, these material senses or my material perception. He can be only understood by some self-revelation or spiritual revelation by himself only. And Prabhupada is saying that uh, because he is all pervading, right? And which means what? That through the influence, through this, power, like, pervading, in this whole cosmic manifestation, that like Krishna is pervading through his energies, and whatever is happening is through the interaction of his energies, and that is how the Supreme Lord is actually controlling this cosmic manifestation, or this Brahmanda, that way. So yes, this is what Krishna is saying, that he is not dependent on them, and he is aloof, and he is completely detached. Because see, Krishna is present everywhere by his personal representation, of his different energies. And he's there as a Paramatma also, which is Krishna's only expansion. And Krishna is controlling and supporting this entire universe within it. So, though everything is situated in Krishna, they are not situated in him. And since he is completely aloof and he's independent of everything, he's not influenced by the three modes of material nature. And yet, Krishna is not everything. This is also what he's going to say in the next shloka, that he's not everything, right? Because he's pervading through his energies. Okay, I rest my speech over here. If anybody has any queries, questions, doubts, you can ask me.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Yeah, Hare Krishna, Sucharita.
Mataji, in this second shloka, Krishna says Pratyaksha Vagama. So Pratyaksha is also one kind of receiving knowledge, but we learnt in Ishopanishad that Shabda is topmost. So here Pratyaksha is what related? Can you reconcile this?
Yes, yes. Pratyaksha is, giving a direct experience of that, of our own self by that particular realization that we have, So it's a direct experience you get about Krishna. That is called Pratyaksha. So their Pratyaksha Praman is different, and here it is a direct experience. Pratyaksha means what? Seeing. But over here, when you say Pratyaksha, okay, means you are actually personally experiencing. Nobody else is experiencing. You yourself are experiencing it, and you're experiencing it by your own realizations. That way. Okay.
Okay, Mataji.
Padasati going, Prabhu?
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Krishna.
Mataji, 9.1, you describe that if you are an envious with will create more miseries for himself. How can we describe that? With an example?
So let's see now. There were so many people who were envious of Krishna. In Krishna Leela, they created a havoc for themselves, right? So many demons are envious of Krishna. Kamsa, Ravana, all these people were envious of Krishna. And ultimately, we have seen what happened with them. But those who had faith of Krishna, so much loving reciprocation with Krishna, so much loving relations they had with Krishna. So that's how, their relationship with Krishna grew more and more, and they were feeling happy and joyful. But on the other side, all these envious people, they were never happy. They were never happy conquering so many kingdoms also and having so much of wealth also. They were never happy. But if you see those simple Brajavasis, which were only happy seeing Krishna, their happiness was connected only to Krishna. They were living a very simple life, a small house and one cow and a couple of children. But they all Brajavasis were very, very happy because they had the biggest wealth with them, and that was Lord Krishna. That way.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Anybody else has any queries, doubts, questions?
This 9.4. Hare Krishna Madhu, Dandavad Pranam. Can I?
Yes, Prabhuji, yeah, definitely.
So 9.4 in this the last in the translation, the all beings are in me, but I am not in them. Can you please explain me one example as
Yeah,
well?
when he's saying all beings are in me, means what? Their existence is dependent on me. We all are dependent on Krishna, right? And because Krishna is the cause of my existence, I have come from Krishna only and I have reached to Krishna only. He's my, ever well-wishing father. So that is why he's saying that their existence is dependent on me. For example, right now, if Krishna stops, supplying rains, stops supplying the sun and all foodstuffs, everything, what will happen? We will die, right? And that is why. And then he's saying that I am their cause also, because see, Sarva Karana Karanam, Ishvara Param Krishna, Sachidananda Vigraha, Anadir Adir Govinda, Sarva Karana Karana. When we say, na, my cause is my father, and my father's cause is his father, and his father cause is, and that cause goes to Krishna. That is why Krishna is the cause of all the living entities, and that is why he's saying that all living beings are in me. But I am not in them. Means what? Krishna is not dependent on us. Krishna is not dependent on us. It's not like that we have to earn and we have to give to Krishna. No, not like that. But still, Krishna is aloof and he is not attached to the living entities. Like for example, I give birth to my child, I become very attached, right, to my child. But though Krishna has given us birth, he is not attached to us. He's aloof from us and he's not even dependent on us. Like for example, I give birth to my child and I will think, oh, my child will, take care of me in my old age when I become very old. So which means what? I am dependent on my child sometime or the other. Currently, I might not be, when I give birth today, I might not be dependent on my child. But after 50 years, I'll be dependent on my child. So Krishna like that is not dependent on me. Krishna is completely independent that way.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, mother.
Anybody else has any questions, queries, doubts? Okay. Thank you so much, dear devotees, for joining in and for your patience hearing and being actively participant in the Bhakti Shastri course, because only knowledge is going to give us, bring us closer to Krishna. Knowledge is only going to give us that enthusiasm to serve Krishna. Without knowledge, we won't be able to have that faith also in Krishna, that we can serve Krishna. So thank you so much for all your active participation. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrindi ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
No.
Hare Krishna.